My name is Bryan Washington, and I'm the author of Houston Osaka. Houston Osaka was originally a short story that I wrote for a friend, and I was in the middle of writing what I thought would be my second book. But as I kept failing with that book, I kept thinking about the characters in Houston Osaka and their families and their lives and their problems until eventually it seemed as if that was the story that I actually needed to tell and to write, and it became the second book.
I just want to know what it's talking about.
So it's about two young men who are traveling back and forth from Houston, Texas, and Osaka in Japan, and a mother that brings the family together and shows them how to proceed their relationship and how relationships can change over time.
J'ai été très rapidement happé et par la grâce des personnages, leur consistance, le trait très humain de chacun et les relations qu'ils pouvaient entretenir les uns avec les autres.
I knew that this particular story needed a little bit more time than a short story could allow, because it seemed as if though every time I found an ending, the story needed to continue in order for me to finish it. So in some ways it's an accidental novel, but in other ways the novel allowed me to talk about the things I wanted to talk about at the length that I needed to. These are two families, two individuals, three individuals in some cases, who have barriers of language, who have barriers of culture, who have barriers of sexuality to some degree, and their inability to communicate is both literal oftentimes, but sometimes it's more metaphorical, you know? The way in which a father perhaps doesn't have the language for his child's queerness creates a sort of silence, in the same way that a child who can only view their mother as a sort of mother instead of an actual whole person creates its own silence.
Dexter. Dexter.
You're right.
Okay. What do you have in mind? What do you think now?
It's up to you.
It's
Totally up to you. There were many other books that I was reading and thinking about, like Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Kong, like Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto, like Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi, and these were books that were in many ways inspirational, but they were also serving as examples of people who told the stories they wanted to tell in the way that they wanted to tell them.
Le texte de Bryan m'a fait penser un peu, pas nécessairement sur tous les sujets, mais au moins sur la thématique d'immigration japonaise, à ce que Julie Otsuka cherche à faire à travers ses romans.
Writing the book was one way of thinking through the many different forms that loves can take, particularly if they're enshrined in silence or surrounded by silence. Benson, for example, who's this queer black man who couldn't be more different from Mitsuko, who's this older Japanese woman, is off-put by her silence initially. In their initial interactions, they may seem abrasive to her, they may seem as if they don't have a sort of warmth, but in fact, the first thing that she does is comfort him with cooking, and comfort him with advice, and comfort him with her presence. Some of it came from things I've experienced it, much of it came from things my friends have experienced it, but quite a lot of it was also just me having questions about family and about found family and about queerness inside of families that I felt could be interesting or could be fun to spend time thinking through with a novel.
When are you doing your next one?
It's going to be at 4 today.
At 4 today?
Yeah, 4 today.
I'll see if I can get in there. It's some great work.
Well, I appreciate it.
Great work.
It's a good deal.
Vous passez d'un moment à un autre avec un rythme et dans la langue une puissance qui fait qu'on ne s'ennuie jamais. On se retrouve vraiment tout de suite à être accroché.
Hello.
I have your book.
Thank you. How do you?
Stefan.
Okay, Stefan.
PH.
Okay. Is there an accent anywhere, or is it okay? It's
Like
okay?
this, you've got Stefan.
Okay. Oftentimes, or all of the time, I write for myself, and I write for my friends, and I've been very fortunate to find a readership and to find an audience, and very grateful for it. So just really grateful that folks are taking time with the book and thinking through the book.